developing the modern defenseman. Um, like I said, I've watched a ton of videos on the coach's site, all under this umbrella of developing the modern defenseman. And I think we could spend all day here if we talked about all the different areas that it takes to develop a defenseman. So the subject that we're going to focus on is advancing pucks through the neutral zone. I just picked that one based on being able to narrow our focus. And usually what I see when watching these different videos is a skills focus, talking about underhandling pucks, deception, getting your hips north, all things that we do here at the University of Vermont as well when developing our defensemen. But what's next after skill development? And I think more of what I'm talking about when I say what's next is, what are we trying to accomplish? We're trying to bridge the gap between skills work and game application. And to do that, you have to go back one step further and understand what we're doing and where we're at in the development ladder of these players that we inherit. And we're taking amateur hockey players, some drafted, some undrafted, and we're taking them from that level and trying to get them to be professional hockey players. That's the goal of every defenseman coming in here to the University of Vermont that we coach. And I think you got to look back at the NHL game to understand where we are in the state of hockey development as it pertains to skills. And about 20 years ago or so, when they implemented the salary cap, NHL teams are always looking for a competitive advantage. What can they do to get their guys one step better than the competition? And they started spending outside the cap. And what I mean by that is no longer could they just buy the best players. They now had to develop the talent from within. So there was a major investment in player development, not only on the ice. Obviously, teams that went from having no strength and conditioning to having 2 full-time strength and conditioning coaches, full-time video coaches, which wasn't a thing, to becoming a full-time thing. And you go down the list of how many trainers and all the different areas that they started spending outside the cap to develop their players. But specifically for us, we're talking about on-ice skills development. And that investment at the NHL level has a trickle-down effect, right? And bringing on full-time skills coaches to the NHL level obviously filters down into youth hockey. And we inherit players here and recruit players here that have been getting individual skills coaching from the time that they're, 5 or 6 years old, some of them. So how do you teach game application of that skills? Because a lot of time we'll get players in here and not every player is the same. It's different across the board. Everybody's an individual coming from different levels with different varying degrees of skills coaching background. But how do you teach the game application of the skills? So what we're going to do in this presentation is take you through our mindset here at UVM on how we go about teaching our defensemen to apply the skills work that we're working on.